What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative, where today I have my husband Chris. We are going to talk to you about our experience reading Into the Dark, which is it's not technically the first book of the Star Wars High Republic series, but chronologically it comes before the actual first book.
It's chronologically first.
It's confusing, but don't worry. The list that we're using, I will have linked in the description box down below if you want to check that out. Typically, I start all of my book reviews off telling you why I read that book, what it was that made me pick it up. Well, today I have my reason sitting right next to me. My husband, Chris, started listening to the audiobook for Into the Dark, was telling me about it. It sounded interesting. I've always wanted to read the Star Wars books. I've read a few of them. So I spur of the moment decided I was going to try to get my hands on the audiobook, listen to it with Chris so we could talk about it. And then I was like, hey, you want to do a review with me? And he seemed amiable, so I decided to cash in on it quick, fast, and in a hurry. That's how it is that I came to read this book. Chris, would you like to tell us why you decided to read this book?
Because the radio sucks. I'm tired of listening to it driving back and forth to work.
So the High Republic books. These books take place, I want to say, around 200 years before the Phantom Menace and the movie franchise. So this is all new content for Star Wars fans, for those of you who haven't read the books yet. I didn't recognize any of the characters mentioned. Of course, I believe this is, 1,000 years prior to the original three movies?
Something like that, yeah.
Now, there was one mentioned.
No, not the original three. Like, the prequel three. Like, way long time. Because the prequel three is only like 20 years before the others.
Gotcha. There was one character that was mentioned one time that I recognized the name. Did you catch it?
I don't know, maybe.
Yoda. They mentioned Yoda.
Did they?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
They did. Towards the beginning, when our main character was still in Coruscant, they mentioned Yoda.
If this book was 1,000 years before, Yoda wasn't even born yet. In Return of the Jedi, Yoda was like 900.
I'll have to go back and find that in the book, but he was mentioned.
Did you like the book?
I did. I enjoyed it very much. How about you?
Did you like all of the book? Or were there parts you were like, eh?
Well, I want to keep it spoiler-free as much as possible.
Well, spoiler-free's fine. You don't have to go into plot, but, I mean...
I did. There wasn't anything that I would have taken out. We got 2 new races I had never heard of. The Draendeer, and I only remember
tree people.
Yeah, I only remember their name because it's reindeer with a D on the front of it. And then we had the Nihil. Wait, that's not right. What were they called?
Nihil.
The Nihil. I had never heard of these 2 races, so it was fun to get those introduced and wonder what part they're going to play as we continue through the series.
We forgot the Bow.
Well, they're a guild of smugglers, right?
Well,
that's
sort of.
So this book opens up, we meet Padawan Reath Silas. Reath just wants to stay in the Jedi Temple and study the archives day in, day out. He knows that Jedi are not supposed to have a home, but he just wants to study. He wants to learn all that he can, and his master, Jorah Mali, has decided he's going to go to the new frontier, or the back end of beyond is what he calls it, and he is not happy about it.
Not having it.
I mean, typical teenager. He's not happy. He comes up with all of the reasons why he shouldn't have to go. He loves Coruscant. But here he is going, along with another one that has been trained by Jorah, Des Rydell. Des was
Rydan.
Des Rydan. Now, Des is now a Jedi, correct? He's a Jedi Knight.
Mm-hmm.
While Reath does not know Des very well, they are familiar with one another, so he's glad to have somebody he knows. They're joined by Masters Orla, Masters Comac, Masters Comac, and they're going on this vessel with my favorite character.
Not a vessel, the vessel.
Yes, the name of it is The Vessel. Its captain is named Leox, and his co-captain or co-pilot is Athihalo, and they're of this guild of the, what's Scover's?
The Bind Guild.
The Bind Guild. Leox is my favorite character. I told Chris he reminded me of Hondo from the, he the clone?
He's kind of Hondo-ish.
He's very Hondo-ish. When they talk about his long locks and his beads and the way that Dan Bittner voices him, it's just...
he's a total hillbilly.
Which we should also mention, these are all audiobooks. The list that we're using is the Penguin Random House Star Wars Canon Audiobook timeline. They list all of the audiobooks in chronological order, and they even have the movies added in. So if you read the books and you want to stop and watch the movie, you can. Just make it a really great...
Link in description below.
Yeah. Look at you. You're a professional YouTuber. That link is going to be in the description below if you want to check it out. We are, or at least I'm planning to watch the movies when I get to them in the timeline and just make it a really fun experience. I'm also watching currently...
Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars. The cartoon, The Clone Wars, and I'll follow it up with...
Rebels.
Which will then be followed up with...
Rebels.
Bad Batch.
Oh, you're going to watch Bad Batch again?
Yeah.
I mean, we just watched Bad Batch.
So?
Okay.
I mean, how many times have we watched
Well, if you're going to do it chronologically, though, it would be Clone Wars, Bad Batch, Rebels. I just hope the rest of the books are equally as well narrated as this one.
I haven't looked ahead to see.
Like, the audiobook of this, like, I couldn't fathom reading the book after having listened to it, because like they put the music in it. It's got blaster sound effects. You hear doors and ships and stuff in the background while dude is narrating. It's fantastic.
If you're a fan of the movie franchise, you're going to love these audiobooks because they have all of the sound effects in there that you're so familiar with the movies that when you're listening to it, you think it feels like you are listening to the movie.
Yeah, it does.
You can picture everything happening.
For me, it was like watching or listening to the movie from the other room. It's like mentally picture everything except for the races that you've never had before. Like they mention a baby Wookiee and you're going, boop, okay, Wookiee, got that.
Yeah. So our group of traveling companions head out to the new frontier.
Without getting into spoilers, you learn something about hyperspace that I never knew, which is that it has like essentially what amounts to lanes, like lanes of traffic. And there's like been this huge disaster and hyperspace is all jacked up.
Galactic-wide.
Yeah, hyperspace is all jacked up.
So it knocks the vessel out of hyperspace and they're pretty much dead in the air while waiting for whatever it is that's happened, which I don't believe we ever find out what actually happened.
Oh, they
allude to.
They don't exactly spell it out, but they give you enough that you can figure it out.
So they're dead in the air, and they discover they're near this abandoned space station. When they get out and start going through the space station, there are several mysteries that are interesting to the different characters. Affie Hollow of the Bind Guild discovers something there that may tie into her history with the guild that she wasn't aware of before, which she felt she should be as the stepdaughter of the leader of the guild. And then the Jedi discover something very strange. They discover some sort of object that is giving off, how would you describe it? The dark side of the Force.
Yep.
And that just leads to our whole adventure. There are so many different plot lines that begin here, but our main plot gets resolved. The others have a resolution, but there's so much left open, so I have no idea where the next book is going to go. There's so many different directions that we can take from here. I'm excited about the next book.
Well, the next book may not even follow this group of people. It may be totally different.
It does.
I mean, we don't know.
The next book is actually the first book of the High Republic, but this one was a prequel to that one, which is why we ended up with this one.
But the High Republic could be tons of people. It doesn't necessarily have to be this group.
I have a feeling it's going... At some point, these plot lines are going to be revisited. They wouldn't just open 5 plot lines and start them.
Do you realize how many Star Wars books there are? I don't think you do.
There are a lot.
There's not all canon, but there's a lot of them.
This is specifically the canon timeline.
Yeah.
We've already got a hold on Libby for the next book in the series. So how did you like this experience with this audiobook, with Star Wars? Because Chris is not a reader. This is a whole new experience.
I don't read. And I would never read it in print, ever. I don't have the attention span.
I mean, audiobooks are fine.
I do audio because I can, zombie through something else, like my commute and listen to the book, or I can go lay out by the pool and listen to the book. But like, if I tried to sit down and read something, I might last 10 pages and then I'm going to find something else to do. It's just how I am. So I thought it was solid. I would probably give it like an 8 out of 10. But the book did one thing that I absolutely cannot stand, and we bounced around telling two stories in two different time periods. It'd be like 4 chapters of current and then 1 chapter of old, and then bounce back and forth. And I hate that. I wish they would have just give me the old timeline up front. Just give me like 5 chapters of that, and then give me current.
That's not how it works in books, babe.
Because I'm listening to a 12-hour book, and my brain ends up having a hard time tracking which timeline am I in, what story am I telling. Like, the hopping back and forth just messes with me.
Fortunately, the way this author did it, they did say 25 years previously.
But still, I had to go back.
Sometimes that doesn't happen.
But I had to go back in my brain and go, well, 4 hours ago, what were they talking about?
Well, typically what happens is when we have 4 or 5 chapters in the current, and then when there's a 25 years previous, that is foreshadowing for what's to come.
I understand why.
But you just don't like it.
I don't like it because I have to go back in my head and go, where were we 4 hours ago? Because I don't remember.
Oh, no.
It's like, if I had known and I had chapter markers of which ones those were going to be, I would have listened to them chronologically. I would have listened to all the 25 years before and then the main story.
No, that's sacrilege. Blasphemy. It's not
no, I think it would work. Honestly, for me personally, I think if I had listened to the book that way, it would have been just as good for me.
I'll be honest with you. The 2 timelines, the 25 years previous, which were about Orla and Comac, I didn't really see the correlation between the two.
There wasn't one. Like
I didn't understand.
They didn't even give you the correlation until like the last 2 pages of the book, and then you're going, oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So are you excited? Are you going to continue the series?
Yeah, I mean, I will definitely continue to listen to them. I think the only thing that would stop me is if the production value just drastically drops.
From what I understand, all of the Star Wars books has this production.
Because this one set the bar, like, extremely high. Like, I've listened to other audiobooks that didn't have all that stuff, and I'm fine with it. But when I know I'm listening to a series of, what was it, like 14 of them?
Oh, no, there's more.
Well, I mean, on the Penguin list. I think it was like 14.
No, it's more.
Well, it included the movies and the cartoons and all that, too, which...
Yeah, it's
anyway, all that aside, you know, when you've got a lengthy list, this is the first one. You're setting the bar this high. The other ones better be just as good.
Well, I know the Thrawn books have them because Una and Crypto have read those, and they talk about how
I'm going to have a hard time with that one just because I'm sure he's not voiced by him, and I know that voice as one thing.
I'm trying to remember because I actually did in the 3rd book of Thrawn Ascendancy. I did use the immersion read. I did use the audiobook, and I thought I cannot remember the audiobook narrator's name, but I thought he did a fantastic job.
But he's not Mads. But he's not Mads.
He's not Mads.
And I've watched. So you haven't watched all the cartoons like I have. I mean, I know I showed you an episode with Ron, so you know like how sinister he sounds and what he looks like and all that. But I mean, I spent all that time watching those cartoons, so like I know that voice, and it's not him.
Who was your favorite character?
Oh,
you know, mine was Leox.
I would probably go with Geo.
Oh, Geo was fantastic. I can't say that because it's spoiler. Geo was amazing. That was well played.
Yeah, no, all memeing aside, because that is a very memey answer. I would probably go with Leox too, as like most entertaining.
Well, he was entertaining. He was wise. And
they portray him as like this hillbilly right out the gate, so you think this guy's gonna be dumb as a brick.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah,
but, we're from Mississippi. I mean, rednecks are gonna. You
go into it thinking, oh, this guy's gonna be dumb as a brick. They're gonna portray him like he's dumb as a brick, and then you get some tidbits where he's actually full of sage wisdom.
Pretty clever. So I will also tell you that this is a YA, which means young adult, and it's because the main characters are between the ages of 13 and 18. And it did, for me, who reads a lot, it did read a little young. So I was wondering how that was going to sit with you, because...
It didn't bother me because, I mean... it's Star Wars, right? Like you can relate to Padawans and Masters and all that stuff. As much as everybody bashes on the prequels because they are pretty bad, but
I didn't mind them.
I mean, you've been conditioned that this is the way it is. You have an apprentice and a master, and they're training, and it's from youth all the way up. So I know you call it a YA, but I didn't really look at it that way. To me, it was just a Star Wars book.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And Into the Dark was written by Claudia Gray. I do believe there are different authors that are going to be doing the different books.
That is correct.
So I'm excited to see how Chris is going to enjoy their writing style. So you were fine with Claudia Gray's writing style. You didn't have any issue with...
The internal struggle with Affy for a while just kind of got stale. Like, I could have dealt without the constant rehash of that. Because they revisit that same internal discussion over and over and over. And it's like, okay, we got it. You can stop.
She was in a difficult position.
I mean, I get it. But, I mean, it's like, we mentioned it at least once a chapter, it felt like.
No, it was not that often. It was not. I didn't mind it, and it felt natural in her position.
Yeah. I mean, I do like how it got resolved at the end. I thought the way that played out was fantastic.
I loved it. I felt that was a perfect progression of her character over the course of the story, and it just felt like she was like, okay, I'm putting on my big girl panties. Yep. It felt that she just showed this huge step up in maturity, and that is probably my most exciting plot line that I want to see what happens next going forward.
Which you probably won't get. I'm telling you, I'm willing to bet that the other High Republic books are going to be told from the aspect of other Jedi. That's my guess. I don't know that. I haven't looked at any of the synopsis or anything, but that's my guess.
Well, friends, we will definitely keep you updated. We're excited to continue the story. Like I think I mentioned earlier, we have already put a hold on the next audiobook in the series with Livy, which I believe I have like a 4-week wait. We might just have to use one of those precious Audible credits. Yeah. But I'm excited to experience other authors in the series. I'm excited to see what other characters we might meet. I just feel at some point in the High Republic books, there's going to be some family line that we're going to recognize that's going to tie into the characters that we've known and loved for the last, 40 years? 45 years! You know how I know that? Because the first Star Wars movie came out when I was born. Yeah, I'm dating myself. I hope you all are as excited as I am that Chris is listening to audiobooks and has found a series that he enjoys and is looking forward to listening to. And
because I know I've tried your other favorite beloved series and couldn't do it.
You did not give that a good try.
It didn't interest me. I tried. I gave it like an hour and a
Okay,
half.
stop talking. Stop talking. Save our marriage.
Sorry.
Save our marriage. Oh dear. We're just... Okay. If you want to see more from Chris, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one, which hopefully will be in the next few weeks. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll catch you in the next one.